Okay, so the setup for this is the writing group with the New York Times bestselling author. The writing prompt was historical, what do you call it? Alternate history, alternate history. So first, tell about something personal that could have changed your life if you had made a different choice. And then second, talk about a historical event and imagine how history would have been different if that event had not happened or it happened differently. So here's kind of what I whipped up. And I didn't actually write it down, but I'll be able to transcribe it. This is just kind of extemporaneous, a little organized thoughts that I've been practicing at the Northfield Toastmasters International Club. So let's see what this says.
I'm going to tell you another unsuccessful romantic story about, well, she's a public figure. I can't say her name. So Marianne Mueller, a different Marianne than before, but Marianne Mueller was the ex-girlfriend of Tsutomu Shimomura, the hacker who went up against
I think that's
Kimmich
true.
in the early 90s.
If that's not true,
And
sorry.
so
I'm
the
pretty sure it is.
scene is
Long time ago, anyway.
with the cyberpunk crowd in the Bay Area. The scene is the filming of a First Amendment forum for the ACLU at the offices of, I think it was the offices of PGP Inc. or somewhere, some other crypto company in the early 90s. And I had just read in the paper about this Canadian neo-Nazi Ernst Zundel who was getting cut off the internet by Deutsche Telekom. And I said, well, we're sitting here, this just happened, I just read about it in the San Jose Mercury News. We're sitting here at a ACLU First Amendment forum. We supposedly have this ideology of the internet interprets censorship as damage and routes around it. Is this a case study? Do we actually believe that the best way to fight neo-Nazi propaganda is to battle them in the marketplace of ideas? And my answer, in part to impress Marianne Mueller, was, yeah, I'm going to do something about this. And so this started a 10-year odyssey where, yeah, I had my 15 months of fame. And the question is, well, what would have changed if I had done things differently? I think I certainly learned a little bit about managing the press, managing my own emotions, which I had learned a little bit before. But the real question is kind of for me about the scope of history as well as the scope of my life. I mean, my life went well. The lives of my friends went well as sort of a cascading consequence of my involvement in this. Basically, we said, okay, we're going to defend the right of this neo-Nazi to speak, and at the same time, we're going to tell people, the world, while we're defending his right to speak, we're going to tell him exactly why he's wrong. And that was fairly successful. He eventually was deported from Canada back to Germany as a threat to national security. In fact, it was escalated to the United Nations. You can look up Ernie Zundel. It was escalated to the United Nations as he's not only a threat to the national security of Canada, he is a threat to the international system of nations. So, fun guy, right? Another guy, David Irving, one of his friends, sued a friend of mine, Deborah Lipstadt, for libel in the United Kingdom for calling him a Holocaust denier. Judge Gray and her attorney, Anthony Julius, who was also Diana, Princess of Wales' divorce attorney, successfully argued, yeah, you know, the reason we called him a Nazi is because he is. And it was April 11th, 2000. Judge Gray came out with his 400-page legal opinion. Yeah, the guy's a freaking Nazi. Sorry, you're not going to get any of my financial damages because what she said about you is true. And so the other inflection point in my life and in history was, okay, so we won, right? Hate speech went away, right? 2000, right? Like, there is no far-right propaganda anymore. We won, right? So I stopped paying attention for about 15 years. So, I don't know. I guess the bottom line that I tell my kids is, one person can change the world. You know why? Because we did. The question to ask yourself, though, is when you get to change the world, make sure you work with friends and make sure you do it right. You don't decide to change the world to impress your girlfriend. You don't go and change the world to impress yourself and to prove that you're right. You change the world because you want to make the world a better place. And to do that, you need a diverse set of views. You need to look into unintended consequences. And you need to keep with it. And thank God there are people who are doing that. So, yeah, we got some challenges in the world. And who knows what would have happened differently if things had gone a little different. If either this had never happened, or if we had not rested on our laurels and said, yeah, we're done. I don't know.